strength of your life is seen in the succession that you put out there. In other words, you're passing it on. Our whole goal is to not just take everything into ourselves, but to have some sort of legacy where we train and develop other people with whatever is in our life that's working, that we can turn around and pass it on. So the success in your life is seen in the success of your successors. And in order to understand that, we have to, first of all, operate at our own top performance. So 2 weeks ago, we learned about passing it on. Last week, we learned about the baggage we can carry and how to break through the baggage that we carry and how to start thinking like we were created to think. And this week, we're going to go into it a little bit deeper in a different frame of thinking that will help you even understand more that you are made to perform. And what that means is if there's something in you, if you're an apple tree with an apple and I'm starving but you're not producing any apples, then you're not doing me any good, because you were created to produce an apple and your apple tree, and I'm starving, I have no food, so I can't get out of you the thing you were meant to produce, and that's not a good thing. So if there's anything blocking that, and it mainly, as you can see on the screen right now, you see a skull or person's head, and it's really, that is the problem with the product, is the way we think, because how we think is how we believe is how we act produces what we have in our life today. So there's some things that we're going to go into that will give you a different way to look at the fact that you were made to perform. So let's get started in today's webinar. All right, reviewing last week, God made man, that's the product. Man was made to look and act like God in his image and likeness, that's the design. So when you make a product, you put inside the product the things that are necessary for it to carry out its purpose, which brings us to the third thing. You were actually created to take the dominion. We looked at all that last week. It says God made man in his image and likeness and made them to rule and take dominion over the birds of the sea and the fish, the birds in the air, the fish of the sea. And the only thing in that statement that you're not to take dominion over is another person. So you only take dominion over yourself, your gifts, your leadership, your thinking, your attitudes, your behaviors. You take dominion over you and the circumstance in your life. So we're not to be under the circumstance. We're supposed to be walking on top of it, in dominion of the circumstance, and that's a lot. That's very like, what are you talking about, Darcy? So we're going to go through this again in a little bit different strategy. We also learned last week man is destroyed through a three-step strategy. First, doubt is sown into man's thinking. Then confusion is created because the doubt is there. And then when the confusion is created based on the doubt being sown, then truth is perverted, and I literally can walk in a lie in my life. I can walk out a lie. I can walk in a lie of, I can't believe I did that. This is my fault, maybe when I was a kid. So I have shame. I can walk in a lie that I'm not good enough because I was told that by a stepfather, or a parent, a coach, or whatever. And so that truth that I was created to take dominion and to look and act like God is totally perverted. So now I actually believe in the perversion that was spoken to me, the doubt and the confusion that came into my life. And if I believe it and I walk with it, it is my truth. Now, it doesn't matter whether it is truth or not. It is my truth because I have chosen to believe something that's not true. And that way, for me, it is true. So it's kind of a very fine line here we're talking about. So the greatest enemy of man is ignorance of his true self. So if you're walking in a lie, it doesn't matter if I think and believe something about myself that isn't true. If I believe it, it is my reality. And that's what we need to break. So we talked about that last week. Finding truth is the answer to all this. We have two brothers here. Last week we talked about that. One brother, this is in the movie The Man in the Iron Mask. They were born twins. This guy here with the thorn on his head, or the crown on his head, is the second son. So he's not the king. He put his brother in a mask and stuck him away in a prison. So the true king is in the mask. The fake king is right here. Wearing a crown doesn't make you think like a king. And the problem was this man that was posing as a king had terrible character. And so the reality is you may be put aside. You may have been put, you may have been walking in a mask. And the truth is you're really born to be a king, born to be a leader. So what we have to understand is when this mask came off the true king, he didn't even know how to eat right, talk right, walk right. He had the heart of a king, but he had the mannerisms of a sloppy guy that's been in a cave for, 15 years. So we also may not be representing the truth about who we are. And that's the tricky part too, because you act a certain way, you believe you are that way. And I'm here to tell you you're not. Okay, so this is what we're going to accomplish today. You're going to learn that you must, like a muscle in a gym, you must train yourself to develop into what you were really created. And it is a process. Okay, your first month that you say, I'm done with my false self, I'm done with walking with these lies, you'll see at the very end of this webinar, I'm going to give you homework, but you're going to say, I am drawing a line in the sand. I am separating myself from everything I've acted like, my past behaviors, my past income levels, my past failures. They are no longer me. They're not my identity. I'm not going to accept that anymore. I am going to turn and go back to my original blueprint, my original design, believe it, act on it, and begin to develop the right thinking that matches the truth about me. That is our goal. And that is not easy. That is something that you train. Training is you're sweating in a gym, you're pushing out those weights, it's hard, it's painful, but on the other end of the development is the greatest new lifestyle, the greatest new normal, the greatest, rather than trying to be something, you will be it. It will become you down to your cellular level. So this is what we're going to talk about today. Next week, I just want to let you know, we're going to go into the training on how to go from, this individual went from 50 million to 100 million just because he got some key concepts. And next week, we're going to talk about when you have the dream and you have a dream, but then you have a day, daily habits and your dream, and how you walk out your day so that you can get towards your dream. So the difference between people that are always dreaming but they're not really doing anything today, that's going to be addressed. So it's a real practical next week, unbelievable, so earth-shaking, awesome. We're going to go into that. So right now we're doing the foundation about the way we think. There is something in you wanting to come out. And let's see here. This is a seed, and inside of a seed is trapped a flower that will eventually come in. So the flower is trapped in the seed, and eventually it busts out, and you can see that progression here. 98% of people, according to studies, are followers. 2% are leaders. But according to what we learned last week, in our design, we were created for dominion. We were created to lead. We were created in the image and likeness of God, and God is not a follower. So what's going on here? So you were created to take dominion in your area of your gifting, but you're a leader trapped inside a follower. So because you've been taught to think like a follower, taught to follow. Kindergarten through 12th grade, you're taught to stand up when the bell rings, walk into another class. Here's your schedule. Take this test on this day. Get this done by this day. Get this high school degree so you can go to college, because if you don't go to college, you're worthless. You have to get a degree or else you're nothing. And let me just say, anybody who thinks that they need somebody to be somebody is nobody, because you're somebody all by yourself. And so this concept that you need something outside of you is the problem. It's part of the lie. And that's going back to Genesis, what we talked about last week, when Eve was born in the image and likeness of God, and then the snake comes and says, eat the apple. Look at the apple. And it was pleasant to her eyes. So she's looking at the apple, thinking something outside of her was necessary for her to have success in life. Understand, she's in the Garden of Eden. absolute provision and beauty and flowers and mountains and clean water and every kind, talking to the animals, talking and walking with God. Everything's perfect. But along comes something that says you're not good enough. You're not good enough in paradise. I'm going to show you how to have the life that you don't have. Now, she's living in paradise. She's perfectly healthy. She's perfectly, everything's absolutely divinely in the dream of all dreams. And along comes the liar that says, no, you got to eat this apple to be, better. You got to eat this apple to be like God. Well, she was already created in his image, so there's the doubt, confusion, and the lie that she accepts. She takes action. She eats the apple, messes everything up. All right, so you have to understand, there's an apple talking to you. There's an apple that says, I need more training. I need a degree. I'm not worthy unless I have that car. I'm not worthy unless I get a new suit. I'm not worthy. My life's not complete because I need something outside of myself. And there is where you're always looking out and you're never looking in. That's a trick. That's a trick. That's a deception, because we are going to find that inside of us, inside of this seed, is everything for its flower to grow out. Inside of you, everything is done. So let's go into that a little bit more. All right, so the lie to the human product, you, is that it's normal to fear. It's normal to worry. It's normal to be angry. It's normal to have lack and struggle and be sick and all this stuff, because all these other humans, I look around and I see everybody fearing and having worry, and so they've accepted it as a normal way to just have life. So your greatest enemy is ignorance of the truth. What our goal is to create a new God-purposed normal. So what is truly normal? And I can tell you right now, this up here at the top is abnormal. You weren't even designed for fear. And I'm going to prove that to you. You weren't even designed to worry. You're not supposed to be angry. Well, actually, you are supposed to be angry and not. But these things aren't in you. They weren't made for you. Your body can't handle these things. The struggle, the lack, the fear, the worry. You're messing up the product when you operate in these things. And worse, if you think it's normal. So you're really accepting it rather than realizing. Think of it this way. If I had a house and inside my house was a poisonous snake that could come and kill me, kill my destiny, kill my purpose, kill my future. So I have a cobra, poisonous snake in my house. Now, am I casual about killing that thing? Am I, I'll get to that tomorrow. I'll kill that thing in my house when I get around to it? Or am I absolutely laser beam focused to say that thing, that snake, that poisonous enemy cannot be in my life. I have got to get rid of it. This is whatever it takes attitude, focus and intentional. I'm going after that. It's going to be separated from our house. I cannot have a poisonous snake running around my home, or I could die. And so that's the attitude you take towards fear, worry, anger, lack, struggle, sickness. You are like, no, you don't. You don't belong to me. I'm not made for you. This is not normal. I am not accepting this. You are going to go. And those are a little bit about what we talked about last week. So now your mind has to understand and be renewed to say, what is normal? If I've accepted these things, what is normal? All right, so the human product is really designed for freedom. Isn't that what we do in Legal Shield? We're looking for freedom. Freedom. Free means to live without restraint, the ability to just go. You're not living under debt. You're not living under struggle. You're not living under, you're free without restraint. Dome, in the free dome, the word freedom, is the word dominion. There it is. You've been saying it. You've been like, I want freedom, freedom of time and freedom of lifestyle, and I'm in this business for freedom. And you never knew you were actually saying your original purpose and your design. The word dominion is inside of the word freedom. So you're free to take dominion and live as you were designed to live, without all of these walls and obstacles and blockades separating you from your freedom. All right, so let's go back to the beginning. Your design starts here. Whenever a product is made, there is a need or a problem. So there's a need, problem, so the purpose for a product is to solve the need or the problem. So first, there's a need. Second, the product is designed to solve the problem. Third, the product is made. So you were ended like the maker puts in the end its beginning. For instance, if a plane is made to fly from New York to California, then everything, okay, that's the problem. People are taking too long to get to California, from New York to California, walking on horses or in cars or buggies or whatever, and they create this idea of a plane, so that's a lot faster transportation. So the problem is slow transportation. The solution is an airplane to make it faster. So they put inside the airplane wings and propellers and all these things that solve the problem and help the product do what it was purpose, which is to move you across the sky in a faster way. So the plane is, lastly, the product is made, meaning everything about the purpose is understood, it's put into the design, and then finally at the end it's made. So the maker puts the end, the purpose of a thing, the destiny of everything, the reason it has to be made in the first place, in its beginning. So you go way back to the beginning of the blueprint of the plane, and all the wires and all of the machinery and all the plugs and the technology is stuck into the design of the plane. And once all that is done, from thinking about the end of the product and its purpose, then the product goes to manufacturing and is made. So you have to think about it along the lines of yourself. You were finished before you were started. So there is nothing missing, actually. You just don't believe it. The problem is it either has been a muscle that's not been used, and that's the problem. Now the muscle is there, but it's been totally unused and lack of understanding about its value, possibly, so you haven't worked it out. So the actual benefit of the muscle that you have, you don't have to go get it, you already have it, is not really manifesting in your life. You're not seeing the results or the benefit of the muscle that you have because you've not understood how to work it into a strength that is actually an asset for your life. So there's where you first have to know that you already got it. It's already in you, and the end was put into the beginning. Then we have to understand every product comes with an owner's manual. To get top performance, which is the purpose, you don't want a plane that flies halfway from New York to California. You want top performance. You want it to fly fast, good, successfully. And you want it, that means the manufacturer's warranty. We're kind of, let's go to a BMW for this since we're in Legal Shield. A BMW comes with a manufacturer's warranty. Now here's the deal. A guarantee, manufacturer's warranty, is a guarantee given to the purchaser of a product to make any repairs or replace defective parts free of charge by an authorized dealer. So if I take my BMW to a Kia dealer, or a Toyota, they don't really know, because they didn't make it, how to repair it if it is not operating. Once I understand that BMW is purposed to operate at full capacity and full potential, and it's breaking down or something's not working, I am going to go to that manufacturer and say, look, this isn't working, and they're going to look inside because they made it and they know how it's supposed to look and work, and they have all the tools to fix the BMW. They're going to go inside and make it to where it's top performance. So I'm going to have that top performance vehicle again, and I'm going to go drive out of there, and everything's going to be good, and I'm okay. If I go to an unauthorized dealer, that's going to be kind of a mess. They're going to look in my hood. They're going to think they know what they're doing. They're going to put the wrong things in. They don't even have the parts that they're supposed to have, and I'm going to come out with my BMW not working at top performance. So the first thing is, in a manufacturer's warranty, in order for it to work, you need to go to an authorized dealer. If the warranties are waived if the product was not used as designed, so I say, I love my BMW and I just want to go on the lake today, so I drive my BMW out onto the water thinking it's a boat, and I sink. So then I call BMW up and I say, I can't believe your car. How could you give me a car? I went out on the water and it just sank. And it's your responsibility that this car sank. And they're going to say, well, did you read your owner's manual? This car was never supposed to go in the water. You turned from the true purpose of the car. You were ignorant of the car's design, and therefore you abused the way the car was created to work. You went out on the water and you sank. The car was never made to drive in the water. So it wasn't BMW's problem. It was the ignorance of the driver of the vehicle of the BMW that didn't understand that the car wasn't made to drive out on water. Okay, maybe everyone they knew said, oh yeah, you're fine if you drive out on the water. Maybe they're in an environment of people that say it's just fine to watch television 6 hours a night. It's just fine to drink every night of the week. It's just fine to take this these drugs and this alcohol and steal and embezzle from your company. It's just fine to be lazy and not go out and do your presentation. It's just fine to drive out on the water, and what is going to happen if you go opposite of your design? You'll sink and you feel like you're drowning. But the key here is it wasn't in the manufacturer's plan. That is not in its design. So the person went opposite of the design of the product, and in that case of the BMW. Another problem is taking the product that is not working to the wrong an unauthorized dealer. An example of that would be me going to a psychic. My life is not working. So instead of going to my manufacturer, I go to a psychic. I go to a crazy psychologist person that starts twisting my mind up with weird stuff. And they don't even know who I am. They don't know how I was made. And I'm going to someone that isn't, first of all, praying for me and really wanting my best. There's no one that wants a BMW to work better than the BMW manufacturers, because their reputation is dependent on that BMW working. There's nobody that wants an Apple phone to work more than Apple, the corporation. They made it, and their reputation is staked on the fact that that product is going to perform. So there's no one who has stake in that product more than the one that made it. And so to go to an unauthorized dealer and try to say, what's wrong here, what's wrong here, this isn't working, I'm not working, my life's not working, my marriage isn't working, my success in my business isn't working, and think that someone that didn't make you really can help you is, now, you know, can God work through people? Yes, but is it wise to not go to your manufacturer? No. So this is the first thing. We need to know top performance comes with an owner's manual and following the owner's manual, and you must follow it, the owner's manual. And here's some examples of not following it. All right, fear. I mean, everybody lives with fear, but when Jesus heard what they said, he told his synagogue leader, stop being afraid. And the opposite of being afraid is to just keep on believing. Well, you need to know what you're believing for. So that would be, if you're ignorant of what you can believe for and what you can stand on and have faith for, because you don't really know the manual, then that would be, you probably have a lot of fear. All right, but fear is not normal. God did not give us a spirit of fear. It says he did not give us a spirit of fear. So if you have one, that's not from your maker. That's not supposed to be there. So if you walk in it like it's normal, then you're actually breaking down. All right, second, worry. This is what the manual says. Don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. So if you're worrying about everything, then you're operating. You're driving your BMW onto the water and drowning. You're sinking, because you're worrying, and worrying isn't even in the manual. Bad words. You have been trapped by what you said, and snared by the words of your mouth, Proverbs 6:2. So that is like, that I say out of my mouth, this doesn't work, nobody's going to want this service. Every time I make a presentation, I go to a company and nobody's ever interested. I am prophesying. I am saying to my future that nobody's ever interested. Nobody wants the service. Nobody shows up at the briefings when I invite them. And I am speaking those words out of my mouth. My marriage stinks. My kids are so terrible. I'm so sick all the time. I never have energy. Those are the words that you're trapped. And you wonder how you got into the life you have, but if you could listen to the words coming out of your mouth. So that's not how the product was made to work. So you're wondering if the warranties are waived. They're like, whoa, 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 this life that you have is not the life that I created for you to have, BMW. But the BMW is like, well, I put ketchup in my gas tank and honey in and I drove out onto the water, and they're messing all these things up, and they're not working, and they're blaming the BMW is not working. well, they just didn't make this car right, and this isn't working. And but it isn't to do with the BMW's original plan for the car. It's the fact that the owner is not operating in accordance with its design. So lazy, there's another one. Do you not know that in a race, all the runners run, but only one gets the prize? So run in such a way as to get the prize. That's focus, that's determination, that's whatever it takes. That's the opposite of, like I'll get a presentation whenever I can, I'll talk to that person, or I won't follow up with them right away. Those are not spirits of excellence. That's not the way you were designed. Self-centered, and it says in the manual, give to others and it will be given to you. Whoa, 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 whoa. I thought I needed to get. I thought it was all about me. I thought I needed to go and see someone and share a presentation so I could get a commission. And it was all about my commission. It was not about their life and their protection and what this product did for them. So I'm self-centered. I'm thinking more about what I get than what they get. So it messes the whole success up. I'm drowning. I have lack. I have worry. I have all this stuff going on because I'm not even operating the way I was designed. So this in itself, I can just say for the Hoffman family, we had done life the way the world does life, and we had looked around and we'd seen all these things, fear, worry, bad words, and I never really attached this product malfunctioning in my life to what my life was producing. I don't know why, but we just didn't. We just were doing all the wrong things, and everyone else that was around us. Everybody kind of lives like this, and that's their normal, and so that was our normal. And finally, the product broke down to where it was impossible to repair. And then we drug the product into the authorized dealer, you might say, and then they started to repair and restore the product the way it originally was designed to think, act, talk, everything. And the Hoffman family came out the other side of this complete total disaster and said, okay, we're done with operating the way the world does and everything everybody says is okay and normal. And we started to look. Here's John and Darcy, basically, these two people, looking at the owner's manual saying, okay, we're done with that way. We're going to go this way, and we're going to start to study the way we were made, start to study the way we were made to talk, to think, to act, everything, finances, and our income quadrupled, and that was in Legal Shield. So this actually happened to us. This is not like a philosophy we're giving to you. This literally was the game changer for the Hoffman family. All right, bottom line, a product's performance is the key. Look at these two products you see on the screen. You got a BMW, you got an Apple computer. BMW does not make a BMW to sit in a dealership or sit in a garage. A BMW is made to perform. So the actual making of a product is not the point. The fact that you're here is great. Okay, you were made, boom, that you're sitting there on the other end of the phone. That is not the key. The key of every product ever made is that it does what it was created to do. It's the performance of the product the maker wants. It wants it to do what it was designed to do, fruitfully and multiply 30, 60, 100-time increase. To go out there for a BMW to go 20 miles an hour, for a BMW to be stalling on the side of the road, for a BMW never to leave a garage is not the glory of the product. The glory of the product is when the product actually functions, fully functions in the way it was purposed and designed. Then BMW is like, yes. I'm so happy that our product that we made, that we put all this fearful and wonderful designs into the product, is actually doing what it's created to do. Apple computer. If an Apple computer comes and I buy it and I stick it on my desk and I never use it for iMovie or iPhoto or all the great things Apple can do, and it just sits there and does nothing. There's no benefit out of the product. There's no production. The fig trees are not on the tree, that type of thing. Then the benefit of Apple's like, no, that's not what it was for. It's not, a product is never made just to be made. A product is made to perform. Any product you ever look at, look around your room, wherever you're at, look at every product that is ever made, and it has a purpose to be used. Now, that is you. You are that product. You were made to perform. So you are made to succeed. You are not made to be average in anything. So first, here's your homework. Create a godly blueprint of you. Literally write it down and say, all the things that are true according to the original. Don't think about what you've done. Don't think about every failure. Don't think about what people said to you. That is irrelevant and absolutely not even supposed to be part of your thinking. So you need to go back to the beginning and say, when God was making me, what did he put in me? What am I made for? And write all those attributes down. Stick them on your wall. Focus on them night and day until your mind actually believes them. At first it's going to be weird because you're going to say, that can't be true because look at the way I acted yesterday. Look at the way I acted today. Look at the way I'm going to act in 10 minutes. So you're going to say, this is all messing me up. And you've just got to decide what is truth. Is the truth the way you've acted in the past? Is the truth your production in Legal Shield, that you're an associate, senior associate manager for a year? Maybe you've been a manager for 2 years and you're like, I can't ever get past manager. Well, all right, well, that was yesterday. Today is today, and you're going to go forward, and you're not going to think like a manager. You're going to think like a platinum. You're going to think like you're created to be. And again, I'm not saying you become a Brian Crothers or you become a Patrick Shaw. You don't want to be someone else. You're not here to be their performance. You're here to be your top performance. So you're going to put out whatever's in you. You're going to release to the world. We're waiting for you to release what's locked inside you. Where that leader that's trapped inside you, the world needs. So train yourself to think in agreement with this blueprint. And the third thing is get repaired or get the defective parts replaced. Go to your authorized dealer, get that restoration, get repaired, get the defective parts out. That means the wrong words, the wrong associations, the wrong concepts, the wrong philosophies, defective parts. The lies that don't belong to you, the wrong habits that don't belong to you, get the defective parts replaced with the right things, and that will lead you to top performance. So that's what our webinar is on today. Now I'm going to open up the line over to Bob or John, I believe, is out there, and we'll have discussion. I'm also going to go to the Facebook. So if you have any questions, you can go to Facebook, and we will see what your questions are. So John or Bob, is anybody out there?
Yeah, I'm
here. Bob. Oh, good.
Okay, there's
Bob.
Go ahead, Bob. Bob, did you get on? Are you on the website?
I got on, and I am blown away right now. John, please take it away. I gotta let this sink in for about another more minute or so. Wow. God.
All right. All right, Bob. Always good to have you on. Yeah, it's just Darcy and I, we just spend so much time, and the things we listen to, and associations, as everybody knows, are just so critical. One of the things that Darcy said is if you're a manager, let's stop thinking like a manager. And that's critical, how we think. And I did this talk, it was out of a quote out of Rory Baden's book, Taking the Stairs. A lot of times people aren't thinking about what they're thinking about. So their thinking starts to think for them. Now, let me say it again so that maybe you can catch that. A lot of people aren't thinking what they're thinking about. So their thinking starts thinking for them. In church a couple weeks ago, our pastor talked about how 3,000 to 4,000 words a minute are coming into our brains. Now, they're just coming into our brains just from our subconscious and everything. I'm letting Brielle out here, guys. And, so it's critical that we really stay focused on thinking about things that apply to the stuff that Darcy spoke of. When I'm driving the BMW today, this car performs. This car is designed to perform to the manufacturer's specifications. Just like every one of you are designed to perform. And so if your thinking is in line with, your creator, if your thinking is in line with what you're purposed for, you'll never think like a manager again. You'll be thinking like a diamond. You won't even think like a platinum. You'll be thinking like a diamond. And you'll know that in the marketplace you have favor. You'll know that in the marketplace what you have brings tremendous solutions to people who have needs, untold needs, whether it's financial, whether it's peace of mind, whether it's living life on their own terms. You'll know that in the marketplace what you have, how you walk, your posture, your attitude, your belief, your strength, your purpose is just absolutely, is absolutely, allowing you to operate at the top of your game. I know and just love going to the marketplace because not only does this vehicle help build and produce financial freedom for people. But this vehicle allows people to do something they may never have a chance to do in their life, and that is make a difference in people's lives. And because they make a difference, make an amazing, amazing living. You know, so I just think that's critical. And just stay focused, everybody. Stay focused on the things that you're thinking about. And if any moment something crops up in your mind, maybe it was your parents when they said, oh, no, you can't do this from 30 years ago. Or maybe it was a teacher that said something really, really stupid. And you're like, where does that come from? Where does that negative thought come from? Or you see a billboard, or you're coming through the grocery store and you see a brushstroke beautiful woman, and you're like, if only I could look like that. You know, don't buy into the crap. Don't buy into the lies. Don't buy into the mediocrity and, you know, people who are okay with their walk of life. You know, don't buy into that stuff. Continue to go right back to the truth. Go back to the truth of what you're capable of doing, becoming, and it will show up. It will show up in life. So anyhow, I got a little excited about that.
Deb Otten.
Hey, guys. Thank you so much. It is so amazing how God works, because I just started reading John C. Maxwell's book on Tuesday of this week, How Successful People Think. And I shared this morning on an accountability call that I can't believe how much is in my head. One of the chapters is on focus, and I couldn't even focus to read the chapter because there were so many things in my head, and how we fill our mind with all these thoughts that don't do us any good, and we don't take time to think about the things we need to think about. And I can't believe how perfect timing this is, because I just need to focus, and I just thank you for that, because we just need to get back to the basics and focus on what we need to focus on, and what we need to do is see the people tell the story. And I'm just so grateful for you guys and your leadership and support, and so grateful for this call, and you know, just the ahas that we have every day. We have to make sure, and I also want to share something that sticks in my mind every day is Og Mandino's Greatest Salesman in the World. I read it 3 times the right way. It took me a whole year to read it the right way. And one of his scrolls, which I read to myself or hear in my head every single day of my life, is, weak is he who allows his thoughts to control his actions. Strong is he who forces his actions to control his thoughts. And, you know, we've got to capture our thoughts, and we've got to put them into action. We've got to act on what we know we need to act on, and the thoughts will come. And, oh, my gosh, I'm just so grateful. Thank you. I too, am very fired up about the call, and I just appreciate you guys so much. Back to you.
Okay, Bob, are you out there? Or, I see also, thanks, John, and amazing comments by Deb and John. And how about Steve Hales? I think your hand's up.
Hey, Bob's here.
Okay, Bob.
Again, just fantastic, Darcy. I think you've outdone yourself on today's webinar. Just truly, you've just breaking it down, and the great examples. I just love the owner's manual example here, because it's just so true with all the other products out there. You know, what about us? You know, what are we doing? Are we staying within our warranty, per se? And then what happens when we do break that warranty? So, folks, just really good information here. I want to share a quick story while we're waiting for other people to raise their hands. We'd love to hear your comments. We'd love to hear your questions to Darcy. That's exactly where you get an opportunity to grow here on this call, you know, every Friday morning. But I get a phone call from the chamber. I've been out here in Raleigh, you know, getting out there, you know, meeting people and going to events. And so the chamber called me back to have them join. And it was about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I answered the phone, and she says, "Wow, you sound great." And I said, "Well, I am. I love what I do. You know, do you love what you do?" And I let her answer, and she kind of hesitated. It was actually kind of funny to hear her response. You know, does she love working for the chamber? And you know, I told her, you know, I had asked her, does she know about Legal Shield, and she kind of a little bit. There were some people already members and such. And it's just a funny story here, because, you know, people are going to buy our music. And it's going to take some time to, change all these years, especially, Darcy, what you were just talking about, how elementary school and how we're just taught to be a follower, all those years, God, I was taught how to be a good employee, and it's literally taken all these years to undo all that craziness. So, Darcy, again, just thank you so much for this information. Folks who are on, live, please, the kindest thing you can do to your team, your friends, your associates, is have them watch the playback over on ShieldNation. That's why it's there. It's available 24/7. And then thank you for offering, Miles' CD, which is absolutely free right now. His CD training is available on ShieldNation also. So tremendous holiday present for everybody. Let's go out to Marv Worthy. Marv, we always love your comments, and take it away.
Well, I can only echo what you said, Bob, and that is, this is amazing stuff. What stands out for me is product performance is the key. That the product do what it was designed to do. That is the most powerful thing I've ever heard. And what an amazing reminder about who we are, and that all that we need to be successful is already in us. We have to learn to access it. And this has been an amazing reminder of who made us, and that we have all that we need to be successful in all that we do. And then John, when he went to say, just powerful, that when you go out, you have to go out with the mindset that you have been placed in a position of favor. And when you understand that, your posture change, your purpose change, and you realize that what we do is far beyond ourselves, and that we move with a sense of selflessness, and the end result is that we get to help a lot of people, and in the process, we get to live a lifestyle that, as you said, Bob, plays the music that people become attracted to. Just an amazing, Darcy, just an amazing, amazing webinar. And I'm so appreciative that we get an opportunity to take the time out and reflect on who we are and who we belong to. And so just thank you. I just so much appreciate it so much. Back to you, Bob.
Oh, thank you so much, Marv. You're absolutely right. How about Mr. Steve Hales? Steve, you did a great job on the Monday leadership call with our own Mr. Hoffman. Folks, if you missed that, please make sure you hear the playback there, late in the evening or so, seed time basically. But Steve, I'd love to hear your comments.
Absolutely, Bob. Thanks so much. Darcy, wow. Wow, I was super excited to get on this webinar this morning when I saw last night what it was about. And some thoughts that came to my mind is, the Miles Monroe training, talking about the lion in the sheep's clothing, and who John said something about, who you associate with. So associate with people that see the lion in you. Associate with people that are going to help draw the lion out of you. And what happened to me was John and Darcy saw that lion in me. They saw what I was designed to be. I was not designed to be a factory worker. I was designed to be the CEO of, Steve Hales Incorporated. I was designed to help hundreds and thousands of people with the great value of this product and this service. And now I've had I've been blessed with some really great people that have come into my life because I started to emulate the examples that I'm around, the people that see the lion in me, and now I'm able to help other people see the lion in themselves. So I just wanted to share that, and this is, wow, I can't wait for my team's feedback on this webinar as well. So have a blessed day.
Thank you so much, Steve. You're absolutely right. It's fun to see the potential in people, and Darcy has trained on this topic, treasure hunting, for years and years and years, and really, folks, that's how you have fun with your Legal Shield business. It truly, we're out here, we're changing people's lives. And there's not too many things that you can say that about. Teresa Wright Johnson out of Northern Virginia, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Absolutely. This was a great webinar this morning, and I'm like Steve. When I saw the topic, I was like, can't wait to get on this one tomorrow, and it was definitely well worth it. And I think that comes to my mind very much like Marv, is the fact that looking at the owner's manual, I mean, that was just a brilliant analogy to who we are, and knowing who we are and who we belong to is so critical. But, you know, we always talk about in our business that how timing is so important. The timing for these webinars could not have come at a better time. Why am I saying that? Because, you know, November, December, I'm really looking at me on the inside. And sometimes you have to step back and slow down so that you can move forward and go faster. And the only way you can do that is really to step back and look within yourself. And so look at your blueprint. And, you know, maybe you have taken your car to the wrong dealer, an unauthorized dealer, but you know, now it's time to get back in sync. And so the timing for this is perfect as we start to move and put on paper what we want to do for 2015, what our goals are for 2015, you know, what we want to get accomplished. You've got to be in the right mindset to first make those decisions. And this is helping me personally to be able to really do some critical thinking, which is so important, to look within myself. And, you know, lastly, Steve, I'm stealing that. Associate with the people who see the lion in you. Brilliant. Going back to you, Mr. Cohen.
Thank you so much, Teresa. You're so right. I love the end of the year. I love the beginning of the year, because people, what are they doing? They're reflecting. They're like, my gosh, another year's gone by. What am I doing? Am I doing all that I should be doing? It's such a great time to kind of shake people a little bit here and introduce them to a model here that absolutely works if they work it. Let's go out. Dee, where are you from? Dee, Ernie, love to hear your thoughts, and go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, yes. I'm actually out of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. I'm with Steve Hill on his
Wonderful.
team. And I just cannot speak enough. Everybody says the same thing and how this is impacting them. But I just cannot speak enough. Darcy, I feel such a kinship with you. I love you, and I don't even know you. But I can just tell you that these people, well, actually on Thanksgiving Day, Miles Monroe was introduced into my life by a family member. And before I realized he was on Legal Shield, I started listening to him. And these last 2 weeks since I've been listening to him, my whole internal spirit is on fire. I am motivated. I am now realizing that everything is in me. It's not an outside source that needs to happen to make things happen. And I actually just listened to his first training CD that you had on the site this morning, and I wrote on my bathroom mirror in removable ink about the seed and that it's all within us for my family to see. Now, the other last part, and I'll keep it real short, is he also mentioned about the graveyard, and our life is just the dash from the date we were born and the date we were died, and what are we going to do in that dash? And are our dreams and our possibilities going to go to the graveyard with us, or are we going to live up to that potential that's within us and make a huge difference and take it to the next level? So I'm on fire. I appreciate you showing all of this, and I am just excited, so excited to be on this team of mentors. I thank you all so much.
Thank you so much, Dee. And Darcy, any comments there for Dee?
Well, she got it. Once you get the seed principle, can you hear me, Bob?
Yeah, we sure can.
Yeah, the seed principle is everything. And let me just, like when I want to give you another tip about how do you do this right here. As you're getting repaired or getting defective parts replaced, you've got to really commit to one thing, and that is, let's say I get off the phone and I find out, let me go up here to this. I'm not meant, and I'm not created for fear. I'm created for faith. All right, and so by the end of the day, I have some fear experience, and I'm fearful about talking to somebody on the phone, or I'm fearful about walking in to make a presentation. I feel fear. All right, so I need to say to myself, out loud, by the way, that is so weird. I am feeling fear because I don't even have fear in me. I'm not created for fear. It isn't who I am, and I'm not going to give place to that. Okay, so you don't give place to the devil is the verse that I live by. So I'm not going to give place to things that aren't true about me. So even though I felt it, when you feel it, and here's where you get lost, is the five senses really mess up us, which mean what you see, taste, feel, touch, the five senses, which is what Eve saw in the and she saw the apple with her five senses. Rather than going back to the truth about what God said she was and how she was created in His image, she was thinking she was missing out by not having that thing out there. So her attention went outside of her rather than inside of her into what she was equipped with already. And so when you, and the one thing that takes people down more than anything that I've seen is their actual behaviors. You're like that king in the mask. You are not trained immediately on how to be a king. All right? Even though you're created to be a leader, you're not going to be acting like a leader in this next week all the time. But one behavior at a time is going to start changing until you are normally walking in faith versus fear. You're normally walking in edifying words versus critical words and doubtful words coming out of your mouth. You will start to, like Steve Hales called me up and I go, how you doing? And he goes, well, I'm doing okay. And I said, no, stop. Say something different. Say, I'm blessed and highly favored, like Les Brown does. When you meet Les Brown, every time how you doing, Les? I'm blessed and highly favored. Whether he feels like it or not is irrelevant. You are going to speak what you truly are, what you're truly meant to be, regardless of how you feel. And so that's one thing I want to say to you, Dee, and everyone on the phone. You're going and Teresa, as you're going into 2015, we have to speak in agreement with our truth about what we're designed to be. And it is very strange, let me tell you, because, okay, when I first did it my first month, and I felt like every minute I was having to take that thought captive. And another thing that I did, the Hoffman family did, to change and to repair, going back to this slide here, let's see, this one right here, getting repaired or defective parts replaced, those thinking patterns are not, they're flying around in you. The self-talk is 1,500 words per minute going on in your brain. So I would have to take the thought captive. So imagine you're sitting in a chair, a thought comes to you that you want to grab it, like imagine you take it captive. And then I want you to say this to yourself. Is this thought, okay, let's say it's, let's go to the BMW. And the BMW has a thought, I'm so bad I can't even drive on a street. Okay, and then he has to take that thought captive and ask himself, when BMW made the BMW, did the BMW want the car to not perform on the street and to drive efficiently and high top performance? The answer is no. So where is that thought coming from? And that BMW needs to say, sorry, you know, I rebuke you, I get rid of you, you're not going to be part, I'm not going to take that thought. And it's kind of a weird thing, and I felt like I was doing it every minute. All right, I just want you to know, Darcy Hoffman, every minute, 17 years ago, grabbing the thought, grabbing the thought, grabbing the thought, and replacing it with something that's true. So then it was very weird, because I'd say, I'm a BMW made for top performance. And I'd say it out, but I wouldn't even feel it at all, because I felt, you know, and so that transformation came by my obedience, my discipline, my muscles. I'm practicing, I'm practicing, I'm practicing, I'm speaking, I'm replacing until, you know, at first it seems like this is ridiculous, but it's worth it, everyone on the phone. I'm telling you, you've got to stop letting those thoughts that are not even true have space in your brain, and occupy space in your life. So I'm glad, Dee, that you are getting revelation, opening up your eyes to the truth about you, that we are a product made to perform, and made to perform at a level of absolute excellence, by the way. I mean, you are a masterpiece. You're not just average. You are a masterpiece made by the master designer. So you should be the top and not the bottom, the head and not the tail. Everywhere you go, you should be blessed at everything you touch. Literally, if you study the manual, you'll be going, what? Why is my life like this? And that is the big question. Why is your life like what it is? And that's because you've been allowing thoughts to tell you that your life is normal at the level it is. And I'm telling you it's not. And when we go into we're going to learn about level 10 living, basically how to live at a level 10, how to think at a level 10, how to be a CEO that understands what it's supposed to be looking like for your production and your performance, and so on and so forth. And I know some of you, I just want you to commit to staying with this program, because I remember going through this with Miles, and I'd see, I'm like, oh, we talked about that before. I've heard this before. And you think you've heard it before, but it's sinking in. Just trust me. Your subconscious is grabbing stuff right now. Your subconscious is kind of disturbing your present state that you have been in for the last 40 years or whatever, and it's breaking stuff out. And it's a process like this seed right here, this seed that comes out. It is not, you can't really see it under there. Something's going on under that soil right there for that to pop out, and then that to eventually start to produce a plant and a flower and a fruit that comes out of it. But you can't see it sometimes. Right now you can't see the seed at all. You can't see that something's happening. So that's where faith comes in. So you ignore any time that you're walking in doubt or confusion starts to hit you. You just say, no, I am not created for doubt. I'm not created for confusion. I'm clear who I am. I'm clear where I'm going. I may not feel it, but it's irrelevant how I feel, because I don't go by emotions. I don't go by feelings. I go by truth. And that's, again, the airplane that's going towards the earth, and the instruments say you're going towards the earth, but his feeling thinks he's going across the horizon, and he goes by feelings, and he crashes. Okay, so when the airplane pilot feels like he's flying across the horizon, but his instruments are saying, no, you're crashing into the ground, you've got to trust instruments or truth or your manual, not your feelings. That's what I'm saying. So back to you, Bob.
Fantastic, Darcy. We've got one last question here from one of our participants. And Darcy, if you'll go ahead and answer this. The question is, like, what do you do when your spouse is not really on board with what we're doing with Legal Shield and all this amazing personal development and such? Any comments and suggestions?
I just live by one thing, and it's actually 17 years ago when John and I were together, or are still together. It sounds weird, but we weren't in agreement, okay? I thought one way, he thought another way. And that's a very difficult thing, because the purpose of marriage is agreement. Where a husband and wife come together in agreement, you can move mountains. But when you're, the word division comes from two parts, just like freedom comes from two parts. Division comes from the word die, D-I, and the word vision. And die means two, vision. So you have two visions in your home. Die vision is when there's two visions, and that's exactly what you're saying. You have a vision to grow and be this new blueprint, and to manifest your life to represent that you have changed from the inside out. And then all of a sudden, the way you talk and act and all that is different. Well, then this other person that you're with doesn't have that vision. So now you have two visions, that which is die vision, and that is the number one attack of the family, is division in die vision, two visions. And so what I was taught in the very beginning when I had die vision was to work out. It's a quote in the manual that says, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. In other words, I needed to fix me, period. I didn't need to look left, and I didn't need to look right. I needed to look one way, and that was for me to fix me. And there was so much that wasn't okay in me. It was, my whole life was I was fixing John, looking that way, looking at him, when I had so much in my product to fix and repair and to restore. And so when I released all the things around me and just started, it's very difficult for a wife because you're and a husband, because you're actually created to be one in purpose, one in mindset, one in vision, one in all those things. And when you have two people living in whatever directions, and especially if the two people don't live by the manual, then you have two independent thinkers thinking, well, this is what I believe, well, this is what I believe, and so it's a mess, okay, because there's not unity, there's not one direction, there's not one philosophy that's working. So that's what I do. That's the answer to that question, is I focus on everything I can do, and the lifestyle change, the heart change, the way I talk changed, my ability to walk in grace, or the power of this image of God that's starting to emit out of me, the image and likeness of God, attracts that husband to what you're doing. Right now, when you come home and say, you should do Legal Shield and this, and you should think the way I am, and you should watch this webinar, and you should do this, that's not the way to do it. That's gonna make them go the opposite direction. So you just got to let that go and be the good news that you want that person attracted to. Be the example. And the goodness of God draws people to him, not the scorn and not the pointing fingers. So when you're pointing a finger, three are pointing back at you. So that's my solution. Whenever I start looking outward, let me tell you, that's when I go right back to that manual, that thing in the manual that says work out your own situations in life, your own perfection, your own growth, and then don't worry about that person until I'm completely in the image and likeness. I'm acting and talking like God, and I am not, so I have a lot to do. So work on yourself, and that's the answer to that dilemma.
Brilliant, brilliant. Thank you, Darcy. And it just reminds me how our family, how our friends, they're watching us, especially with your Legal Shield business. Is it one of those things? Are you just going to try it? No, they're going to watch you. They're going to watch you and see, are you growing? And just really, are you here a year from now? Are you here 5 years from now? And for some of those, negative naysayers, believe me, they'll come around eventually. This is a game of timing with people, especially with the membership sometimes, especially on the opportunity. And the more you just keep working on yourself, like you just said here, Darcy, we can't change others, but we can change ourselves is probably the best way to sum it up. So thank you so much, Darcy, again. Tremendous, tremendous information. Folks, now it's up to us to really get this out to our teams. Send them the link there. It's available on ShieldNation.com under webinars. That's where a leader comes in. A leader gets people to do something they wouldn't ordinarily do. And so that's exactly what we do on a weekly basis, is we just keep improving ourselves. So good for you for joining this live. Good for you for coming on the playback. A great habit, by the way, that we're all doing. And let's go out there, make it a great day, make it a great weekend, and we'll see everybody next Friday. Thanks again. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.